Okay. So this should be a good link. Let's just verify. Okay, so you're the first person here. 7-7. Oh, and a full call. How's it going? Okay, so we got some people here. It's weird because it tells me that I still only have one person. Interesting. Yeah, it's really hard to schedule, like, yeah. So it's really hard to schedule. Okay, now it says 6. Okay, it's really hard. Yeah, sorry, I'll repeat what I said. It's really hard to schedule, like, a decent time just because, obviously, YouTube, the audience, everyone's all around the world. Well, it might be like 12:30 in Poland, but this live stream is not. I don't plan it to be that long because I'm probably going to be doing one again tomorrow. So if you want to stay up for the whole thing, it's probably not going to be too long. I'm also trying to set it up so I haven't been putting like too much effort into like setting up this whole live stream stuff, but I think over the next like couple months I'm going to be putting a lot of effort, I don't know, into like some of the other things that I've been saying I'll do forever for this channel. I want to be able to live stream some of the experiments I'm working on and some of the work that I'm doing, because I kind of feel like I do a lot of projects, and then I don't talk about it for like 4 months until I edit the video and post it. So I think it would be cool if I had a little live audience for certain things that I did. But right now I just have a webcam that's just sitting on top of my computer screen, and I don't really know exactly how to, or what the best way it is to set up something that I can move around. Ah, the Nile Red t-shirt. Is there an easy way for you to like post photos? You could like, I'd be interested to see proof of you wearing the shirt. But yeah, like in general, do you guys have feel free to ask any questions, and I don't really have anything as usual with the other stream that we did. I don't know if you guys, how many of you guys were there. I kind of just talked about random stuff for an hour. It's kind of funny because you're asking where you can buy Mercury. I actually filmed footage for a video that I want to do where I cover that. So, but again, as it works with all my stuff, it takes so long to edit and just that whole, you know, the editing and everything to get the video out that I don't know when I'm actually going to post that. But basically, yeah, I've kind of come to the conclusion, depends on where you live. If you live in the US or Canada, you can you can buy it online directly. So it actually, I think price wise comes out to be a similar price than getting it from like the Mercury switches. But if you, I don't know, if you live somewhere else, you might not be as easy to get, and the best route might be just to go with Mercury switches. But like I said, I'm making a video on it. I just don't know when that'll actually come out. And no, Jonathan, I do believe you. I was just saying it's nice to see. Like, I don't know, in the live stream you can't really as easily see. I mean, there's no easy way to post photos and stuff. Whereas on Twitter, when people say like, "Hey, I'm wearing the shirt," and you see a photo, it's kind of nice. I use well, I guess it's not Sony Vegas anymore. It's called Vegas, or it's Magix Vegas 15. It's I've tried to move to Premiere Pro, but it just, I don't know, the learning curve is too high. I spent like a couple days trying to learn it, but I kind of feel like I'm just stuck using Vegas, and it works well for me. I don't do very like the stuff I do isn't super, you know, technical. I don't need After Effects. I don't have CGI in my videos, so. Yeah, I mean, you say it's not really like a problem in Poland. It's just like the US and Canada, especially the US, seems to have a lot of chemicals that you can just buy. I don't know. They sell to the public. I don't know who actually buys it besides like people like me and maybe some of you guys who are trying to your own experiments. I don't really know how they maintain an entire marketplace for people like that. It doesn't really make sense to me, but I'm used to, like, old thermometers are good to break. When I was working in a lab, we replaced all of the mercury thermometers with the alcohol ones, and it was like I probably had at least like 50 or 60, and then we had these little they're not, maybe they were barometers, and I was able to take the mercury from all that. That's where I got half the mercury that I have. And yeah, it's true. If you're allowed to post photos, it's true people would abuse it. But I meant, like, I wonder if maybe there's a way that you can post like a link, and I would, maybe it's like automatically flagged, but I could like allow it somehow. Yeah, I mean, nitric acid's still hard to find even even here. It's not. I think it was 2 years ago. I was lucky that I was able to buy 4 liters from some guy. I mean, I don't know how many of you guys know the geography of Canada, but I'm in Montreal, and this guy was selling it in Ontario, and he sent me 4 liters for actually a very good price. But I I haven't found a good source since then. But I've also not ran out of the 4 liters, so I haven't had to look for anything. Yeah, I ended up buying my Mercury switches. I bought a bunch of them from, or I bought the little tilt switches from AliExpress. They were like, I think at the cheapest price I found was like 7 cents each or something. So I bought 1,000. But I mean, in the video, eventually you guys will see. I think the price comes out to maybe 70 US for, I think it was a quarter pound. So it's not very, it's still kind of expensive. And I think the price when I looked it up online was like 100 and something. Maybe no, I think it was actually more expensive for me to get it from the switches. But I guess if you have no other choice, like, you kind of do what you have to do. I would sell you some mercury. I've sent mercury. I mean, maybe I shouldn't say that. I have not sent mercury through the mail before. Yeah, that's what I'll go with. Yeah. And also, like, I don't like sending chemicals in general to yeah, and hi Ryan. I should I'll stop that just to say hi to you. I don't like sending chemicals to people that I don't really obviously know. Um, just because I don't know what they're gonna do with it, and I don't want them to hurt themselves. I figured like sending something benign is totally fine with me, but I don't really want to send mercury or like something dangerous to somebody, because if they hurt themselves, then I kind of feel, I mean, I definitely played a part in that. Hello, Dagfin. But yeah. Oh, so okay, yeah. So I got my my red phosphorus is from two sources. The first one was I mean, I feel like I'm not supposed to say for either of them. I'll just say they were the first batch I got for free from someone I know. They just had it, so they gave it to me. And no, it's not like some like sketchy illegal source or anything. And the other one I bought from someone within in Canada, so I didn't import it or anything. Um, so I don't actually know the toxicity of lead versus mercury. Hmm. I don't know. I mean, you can probably look it up, and there's studies to know what's more toxic. I guess I'm not really sure what you mean. Like, what's worse to work with, maybe in terms of toxicity. Yeah, probably mercury's probably more. I don't know. Oh, okay. Well, there's your answer. He has the he studied it, so. Yeah, I was in biochem. Hmm. So, your old copy, purification of laboratory chemicals and grad school. I don't have a copy of that book. I don't think so. I mean, one sec. I'll show you. These are all the books that I have. My my office is kind of like a huge mess right now. I still don't have a bookcase, but I have this organic synthesis. Just throw it on the floor. This one, I think I got this for free. I don't even know. This one, it's pretty good too. This and this. So if those are all the books I own in terms of chemistry. So I don't know. I just in general though, actually, I don't really. I read the books like very quickly once if I need it, but I don't really read those books that often. Honestly, they're probably good. I just find that I find most of my yes, I do have Vogel, but it's on the computer. But I have this problem where I just Google it, and if I can't find like enough info on Google and other stuff, I don't know. I guess I've never found like a really good reference manual that answered all my questions. I find that I always have, you know, maybe I should. I don't know. I just never got in the habit of going to like a few set books and just like looking through them first. No, I've never. Well, yeah, I don't think I've ever worked with heavy water because it's like, I mean, the only thing I'd ever done with it is just run NMRs, but everything I work with isn't water soluble, so I don't really have. I don't think I've ever used it. No, wait. I think I used it. I think I used it once, maybe once, but it was like for one NMR and it didn't even work out. So okay, so sorry. So what do you mean by like synthesis like in the old days? I'm not sure what you mean by that actually. I know that like some of my recent videos have been a little bit more soft on the synthesis. Do you mean more like multi-step organic, I guess? Oh wait, yeah, sorry, Ryan. Uh, Wait, where'd you send the link to? I guess to the Patreon? No. Yeah. I don't have do not have a link anywhere. Unless you send it to my email, if that's what you mean. Yeah, send it to Patreon right now, at least. Yeah, so oh, on here. No, I think you just I think links are just automatically like shadow banned or something. Like I didn't even see a link get posted. I didn't even have like the option to approve it. And yeah, so sorry, I'm just going back up to the messages. Yeah, so Kevin, I'm glad that that you like my videos. I also honestly in chemistry in high school I never really liked it. I I yeah, in high school I didn't like it, but in university I liked it more. Honestly, yeah, I did. But I also felt that there was that big disconnect between practical use of it and just the knowledge. I did have the luck that I guess I found the knowledge interesting enough on its own so that it wasn't like a huge struggle to learn it. But I totally get what you mean. Sweet. Yeah, so going back to the Aussie chemist asking if I want to do like, or and Kuba saying, if that's how your name's pronounced, doing the more multi-step organic synth. Yeah, I do want to go back to doing it. I find that, oh, there, you were actually, oh, this guy put the link in reverse. Nice. How do I reverse it though after that? Um, yeah, like sorry. I find that this is kind of why I want to do the live stream too, because I have a bunch of stuff that I want to talk about the channel in general that's going to be going on in the background, and I kind of wanted the input of you guys to know what you guys thought about it. Over time, I kind of changed the topic of a lot of my videos, and it became harder and harder to do a proper multi-step because I do think that every video should have a practical aspect to it. And some of my old videos where I just did a multi-step synthesis, it was kind of like I just finished and that was it. The video was just done. And I honestly didn't have as much fun making those videos just because I don't know, like when you don't have a purpose for it, it doesn't, for me, it didn't feel as satisfying as when I would make the chemical and then use it. The problem is when you do those multi-step things and then you put a whole ending part where you use it, the video becomes way too long. So it's kind of like tough to balance. But I do have multi-step things coming up, like for synthesis. I haven't stopped doing synthesis. I'm going to look at my past videos I've posted. I think I just haven't been posting synthesis. 1 second. Just going to go look what I've been posting recently. Yeah, so okay, I think I get what you mean now. Yeah. Yeah, it's like I guess it's been like a little while like I've not done like a proper super. No, it's nah. Yeah, I guess maybe this year I've been pretty slacking on the synthesis. Yeah, when am I gonna make Mile Red? Actually, I just got the chemicals to make it, so it should. I mean, I say should be out eventually. Yeah, I'm John White. I'm glad you like the Sanotype videos. They were a lot. It took a lot of work to put them all together. So the last video took me. It like broke my mind trying to edit it because I kind of tried to edit it too quickly. Honestly, I want to make explosives, but it kind of. I was scarred by explosives when I was younger. Maybe figuratively and literally. So I have like a fear, but I do want to bring them back. So unfortunately, I can't show you guys how they're made. I can't blow stuff up in the lab. No, like, so I'm not going to be like how to make explosives or here I'm making explosives. So what I meant more by that, I mean, I guess maybe more energetics in terms of like certain reactions. Like, I'm not going to just, like I said, just go, here's how to make, I took my fulminate video down. I'm not going to say, here's how to make fulminate, boom, and I blow something up. It was more like, I want to do my rocket fuel stuff. I want to do some things that, you know, might go pop, but they're not explosives. Like, I'm never going to make acetone peroxide. I'm never going to make, like, TNT. I'm not going to make things that have, that are just kind of no-nos. I also don't really have that much interest in making them because, like I said, explosives scare me, so. But I want to do, so in terms of like, the closest things to explosives I want to do, I want to revisit the, like a couple, like mixing magnesium and I guess it was potassium nitrate, which just pops when you put water on it. So it's not really an explosion. I want to do my rocket fuels and rocket, I guess, propellants. So those are kind of energetic type reactions. So wait, I'm just going back up to read some of the comments. So yeah, so I don't know if I answered this. So Kevin said, when are you going to make Nile Red? I bought the chemicals. I'm just waiting for one other one to come because I had to order them from Sigma. So I will be making it. I don't know when I'm posting the video, but I mean, I'll get the satisfaction of making it soon. So Andrew, did you ever test your cyanotype exposure rates the same way you would expose regular emulsion film in the form of stops of light? No. Like, honestly, with that whole video, putting it together was kind of wonky because I didn't plan too much beforehand, so it was kind of just as I went, and because of that, there were things when I was editing that I wish I could have gone back and changed, but it didn't occur to me to really do it in stops of light. Sweet. Okay, so like, have I ever thought of buying an electric forge or furnace and doing high temperature chem? Honestly, no. I've avoided doing that type of stuff. I don't know. I just don't have experience with it, I guess. So I was a little bit hesitant to try it out, but maybe I will do that. It could be fun. I would like to get a little bit into metallurgy and some of that other stuff because there is a decent amount of chem involved in that. If, ore purification and all that other stuff, there is like a large chemical aspect. Yeah, going from theobromine to caffeine is actually pretty simple. I think it's just a methylation, or yeah, it's a methylation, right? Of just with like methyl iodide or something. Just one step, I think. So yeah, so you're asking if I'm gonna dye clothing with Nile Red? I don't think so. I think I haven't looked too much into how it's made, honestly. I just know the chemicals. I believe it's an azo coupling, so I could actually dye clothing with it. It didn't occur to me though. The biggest benefit or biggest point of interest when it comes to the Nile Red dye is that it's I think it's because it's solvatochromatic, but it fluoresces different colors when exposed to UV, depending on what solvent it's in, I think. Like, here's the thing. Like, before I actually really dive into making the video, I don't know too much about it. But I think if you look up Nile Red on YouTube, you can find people putting it in solvents, irradiating it with, or I guess not irradiating it, shooting it with UV light, and they fluoresce different colors. So it's pretty cool. I don't know how it would work for dyeing clothing. I'm sure it would work. I just don't. It just never occurred to me, actually. So wait. So wait, John White, you're saying in order to do what? You're saying in order to do that, I think you need to first fix the ventilation in the lab. What are you referring to? Like making explosives or something? Okay, Ryan, you sent me those links. I'll check them out. Okay, yeah, so they're just... Okay, yeah, so it's a little bit to read right now. But I'll check them out after I'm off this. Okay, so yeah, Sherlock Holmium, you say, you're working towards becoming a high school chem and bio teacher, and you found a couple of my videos to be great ideas for hands-off after-school science clubs and stuff. Yeah, I think that's kind of some of my intention when I make my videos. Like, I like the idea that it can, spark an interest in people to do something scientific and fun like that in their own spare time. Can I smile for you? Okay. There, that's what you got. It's a beautiful smile. Okay. Oh, okay. Yeah, Ryan, you got to go. Yeah, I'll see you on the next one. I'm going to be trying to do them a lot more often. So it's not going to be, you know, a big deal if you can't stay or you miss a couple. Yeah, so explosions and fire. Um, I mean, he works directly with explosives and he makes them. So it's like I can see. I don't agree with what YouTube how they treat him, but I can kind of see, you know, um, why they ban him because he is in a little bit of a gray zone. But I still think it's right. I don't know. I don't personally know Ben. Um, but if you actually look at my Patreon list, he's there. Well, as applied science, and he's been there for like since I started very early on in my channel. He's been supporting it. So, like, I definitely know who he is. But we've never. I think maybe there was a video or two that I've like he's commented and I commented back, but I've never really had a conversation with him. Hmm. Yeah, like he's had a lot of videos that are pretty interesting. Like I know he did um I think he did a thermochromic glass one. I'm not sure if that's what you're referring to. But I know that he or was it no, sorry, it was the UV sorry, it was photochromic. That was what it was. And that was pretty cool where he shot like UV lasers and he was able to like draw stuff into the glass, I think, or to take colors away. And I thought that was pretty. I saw like I think I watched the whole thing and I thought it was pretty interesting. It did make me think of making yeah, it did make me think of making glass. It's just I don't know. I have so many projects that by the moment I start trying to uh, yeah, the moment I start trying to work on them, I just get kind of overwhelmed with all the stuff that I've been neglecting over the years. But yeah, I also have to say I do apologize to you guys for putting all those messages saying that I can do the live stream, then I can't, and then obviously it's happening. Um, I've talked to him a few times, or them, I guess. Chem Player. I've talked to Chem Player a few times over like Twitter and YouTube, but they're kind of secretive, so I've never really had a really personal conversation with them. I think the last time I really talked to them is when they were. I don't think they were banned at the time. I think they just took a break from YouTube. But yeah. Um, yeah, so all my stuff that I got personalized was from it was all done in China. Like it's actually pretty simple. Like you can I went to Alibaba, I found a company that's willing to do like OEM services where they'll put your brand name on the glassware. And then I just had to, of course, send them the brand name, send them the font I wanted. I designed even like the how the label went and all the other stuff, but it wasn't too difficult. Probably the most difficult part was actually just ordering it and receiving it because I didn't know how to do any of that. But yeah. So, sorry, 1 second. Sorry, there's something in my throat. Um, try no, I've never tried making trimethylborate. I know Nerd Rage has done it, and other people have what's it called? Have done it before. Part of my like, sorry, having yeah, it is really nice, and it's also really nice having um so making the glassware and shipping it all to myself. You have to obviously spend a decent amount of money to get it all done, but having it or sorry, buying it in bulk means that it's the glassware is cheaper. So now if a beaker breaks or it gets too dirty to clean, like it gets messed up, um, I don't I don't cry when I throw it out. It's not like when I had all Pyrex glassware and getting a new beaker was like I don't know, $15 or something, and it was kind of terrible when you had to throw it out. Um I do have a collection of elements. Unfortunately, I can't really like show them because my webcam's attached to this computer. Still trying to figure out what the best ways to move it all around. But I do have a collection of elements. The only element I don't keep here is, I think my potassium is still at my house. They're not really novelties. Well, they are novelties, but because I don't really use them that often or at all really. But I do occasionally use them for chem, so I keep them all in the lab. So they're not really like samples, they're kind of just stored in bottles. But I do have a separate shelf. If you look at my my lab tour video that I made a few months ago, there's a separate shelf and I have all my elements on it. But yeah, Kevin, I don't think photochromic glassware is like a great idea. If you it'd be such a pain if your glassware is always changing colors. But yeah. Sorry. Gotta fix my my throat or something. Okay, so I'll answer both you guys' questions. So, what's the most expensive piece of equipment, and what would I be most upset about if it broke? Um, I don't know what my most expensive piece. Well, I mean, technically, my most expensive equipment is my camera, and like 2 months ago, I kicked the stand down accidentally, and the lens cracked off. So that was unfortunate. But I wasn't. I don't get too upset about that kind of stuff. I mean, mostly because the lens actually was still able to go back on. It's just I have to be very careful because if I put force on it, it'll just fall off again. Um, because it's replaceable. Like it sucks because it costs money. Like the lens is $1,000, so it's, and I don't think it's fixable. So it sucks, but it's replaceable. I have like some older glassware that I got from that they were throwing out from my university, and I think some of those things would suck if they broke because I've used them for a long time and I really like them. It's funny because off the top of my head I don't know what I'm actually referring to, but there's a few I know when I use them and need to use them. There's a few pieces of glassware that I really like, but it's like they're old stuff, so they're not really replaceable. So you said, have I ever considered cooking a meal in my edible chem video? Honestly, yeah. Like I've considered doing a whole I wanted to do like a whole chemistry of food video, and now in this office downstairs there is a kitchen like cafe, and I mean the guy who runs it's pretty cool. I'm sure if I paid him for the video, he probably wouldn't want to actually be paid, but on the weekend or something I could film a whole video in an actual proper kitchen, or I can do it at home too, like that works as well. But it seemed kind of cool if I had a full-fledged kitchen to do things in. So the next video should be uploaded on my goal was Saturday. Yeah. It's in the works right now. Like it's probably a third edited. I've done the audio. I'm just chopping up everything and matching the video to it. But the next couple of months are honestly going to be a little bit weird. Not in terms of video content, but maybe actually. But yeah, I was going to say, oh, wait, I'll say this first. You say the fume hood's kind of expensive. Yeah, but the fume hood's not really like a breakable thing. It's just made of steel. Maybe the glass could break, but that wouldn't be too expensive to replace. Oh, nice. Your 18th birthday party. Does that mean that you turned 18 on that day, or you're just celebrating your 18th? But yeah, so to comment on what I'm saying about the videos being a little odd, I've kind of, in the past couple of months, I've, this is kind of like, this is one reason too why I decided to do a live stream so last minute. Because I want to talk to you guys a bit about what's, oh, okay, so you've been 18 for a while now. It's a very delayed birthday. Okay, yeah, so I'll stop cutting myself off. It's weird in the sense that for a while, I wouldn't say I've been I've never not made videos I wanted to make, but I would say that the format and the exactly the details and how all the videos were executed weren't exactly how I wanted them to be, just because I've been it's so okay, I'll restart. So when my channel first started, if you guys go back, you'll notice that a lot of my videos were like sub 10 minutes. They were maybe like 5 or 6 minutes long. And they didn't take nearly as much effort. My intros were just, background footage, like miscellaneous footage with some background info. I'm not saying those videos were bad, but they were much easier to film, to edit, and to produce. And it took me usually a couple days to produce the videos. Some of them I was even able to film in a day, edit in like several hours. But as the channel's gone along and I've put more and more effort into making the videos and doing, a lot more, just trying to make the videos more complete and doing them in the vision that I really wanted them to be, they take a lot longer to edit. And I found myself at one point being like, going from, I can edit a video in 2 or 3 days to, I think I need a week to edit videos. And so I would start giving myself just a week, but now I'm starting to realize it takes more than a week to edit a video. Like working every single day, takes me like 5 or 6 days. And these are days where I'm working like many, 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 many hours. Like I don't do much else. So I have to change the schedule of videos now to be every 2 weeks. But there's also the problem too I'm terrible at saying no. So whenever I would get offered an ad sponsorship, I would just take it. The problem with ad sponsorships is that they run on schedules and you're supposed to say when you post the video. And I kept accepting them. And if you guys notice in the past like couple of months or a few months, I've had a sponsorship on most videos. So I've been like just having to edit over and over and over. And I thought the videos would take me, 5 or 6 days to edit, but in reality, it should take much longer. So I've just been like super stressed and not exactly in the best frame of mind to be making videos. So my next video has a sponsorship, but I've canceled them for a couple months. But at the same time, I've also wanted to make different content for a while. And if you guys follow me on Twitter, and I might have said it on Patreon before, I've been trying to just make different types of videos in general. I've been just trying to I guess just, but I kind of got stuck making I don't know how to describe it. I don't know how to describe it honestly. But I think one big issue too is that in the past like year or so, my channel went from about like 100,000 subscribers to like 400,000. So the problem was then I started selling like glass merchandise. Then I started trying to run an Instagram. I started doing all this other stuff. So I'm kind of at the point where I can't, I'm stretching myself pretty thin. So the next 2 months, it's going to be a big reorganization on how I run the channel and in general. And you guys are going to see you won't see on Friday. But as of Friday, my brother is going to be officially hired to be working with me. So that's going to be interesting. But it's like even how, I don't know if you guys noticed, the first live stream I did was maybe, I don't know when it was, like a month or so ago. And it's just because, I don't know, I've been trying to change things up in general. I feel like, I feel like if I haven't put enough time into just fully reorganizing and planning how I want the channel to be and where to go. And I think if I actually take the next couple months to really hammer that out, it'll be good. But it might also mean you guys might see, I might say weird videos. I don't mean like art weird, like some weird art videos that nobody wants to see. I mean, if you see all my videos before, I'll do like, I appear in the intro, but then the rest of the video is very similar as the format you guys seen, but I might experiment with different formatting of how the videos are organized. And I might like I said, work up doing maybe doing a live stream demonstration of actual chemistry. I might yeah, I might just try a bunch of different stuff. So that's what I mean by weird. I don't mean weird, yeah, as in like you're gonna watch it and feel awkward. I mean it's gonna be different than what I normally do, basically. But it also might mean that my amount of videos that I'm posting, I've kind of realized that my main videos, posting 2 a month, is kind of all I can do because I don't. It's the editing takes a surprising amount of time. And like I did actually, one video I wanted to make was the whole behind the scenes, um, where I showed how I started from project idea to project finish, but I will do that eventually. So wait, I'm just gonna go back up and read some of your questions. So it's a random question by Daniel. Have you ever thought of mixing hexamine in water distilled with different metals? No, actually, that has literally never occurred to me. You see, like many metals work with it. What is that? Like, what does it do? Sorry, I don't really know what it does with different metals. So Sherlock Holmium asks, do I ever plan on getting any analytical instruments? I plan maybe on getting an IR at some point because those are pretty simple. Maybe a UV. I don't know. It's just like for what I do, it doesn't really require that much. The IR is nice because sometimes it helps you confirm what you got. But and yeah, so yeah, I'm just reading back in the question. So Kevin's saying maybe I could get an editor. My issue with an editor is every editor that I've spoken to, they all want me, yeah, and someone's saying like outsourcing. It's hard to send my project files. Since now I record in 4K at 60 frames per second, they're like 100 gigs. I can't uploading that, sending it, getting it downloaded, and then having to type or Skype to somebody telling them how I want it edited. To me, it just sounded like a nightmare. I figured that if I want to get an editor, they have to be local, and I have to have an intimate like part in the editing process because they change things all the time. Like I'll write a whole script out, record the audio, and then as I'm editing it, I decide I want to change it. And I think that's important for me to do because once I'm actually putting the whole project together, I see that it's not exactly how I want it to be. Yeah, so Martin, you're saying that your chemistry friend ruined a fume hood by igniting nitroglycerin. Oh, okay. Yeah, so I'm very careful with my fume hood. I don't try to. I'm careful with what I do in it, and I always try to clean it. Like if I get it dirty, as soon as possible, so nothing corrodes it. Hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to reformatting it. It's something that I've been wanting to do for a while, and I think that part of the reason why I haven't is just because running the whole YouTube channel. This is why like I think it's cool to do the live stream because this is something that I never get to do. Like you guys don't really see what goes on behind the scenes. Um, it's it's surprisingly tough to manage everything, and it's like it always seems like once I focus on something, everything else falls apart. So I think that my biggest step right now in like in reformatting things and moving things, forward is just having someone else to work with. I wonder I don't know like how that's going to be. My brother I get along with my brother and it won't be any like, there won't be fighting or anything. But I mean since the channel started, I've never had any partner or anything in it. So I'm interested to see what it's going to be like if I'm working with other people. It's it's funny because my brother, yeah, Andrew, my brother is actually a chemist. So I'm a biochemist. Well, technically, I have my degree in biochemistry, whereas he has his degree in chemistry. So in terms of honestly, in terms of full on chemistry, he's probably more rounded in his knowledge, because I never took a single inorganic class because I just didn't have to. I never took my knowledge in chem isn't, and as a biochemist you don't go as in depth. Like, you end up doing some of the stuff that he does, but I never really you don't go into like the nearly as much depth as like the chem majors do. So, what's he going to be helping with? I think kind of everything. So he's going to help me write scripts. He's going to help me execute the videos. So I'm actually potentially going to have a like a cameraman. I mean, assuming he's not terrible, and he might even appear in some of them. Like, for example, one project, he came home because the reason he's working with me too is because his contract at his old job is ending on Friday. He found a bunch of iron ore, we think it is, near the train tracks of his work, and he decided he got really interested about smashing it up and purifying the iron from it. And I was like, oh, okay, that could be pretty cool to get into the some metallurgy like that. So he might be like part of those projects, and I think that's something that I've been missing, honestly, because I feel, if you notice, a lot of other channels have. I mean, that's not true, actually. I think about Cody, Nerd Rage. They don't really do collaborations that often with people. But I would like to get more involved with other people, because I find that I've been working on my own for a long time, and I don't know. I don't think it's necessarily bothersome. I like the idea of having, full creative control over everything. But at the same time, it is nice to have input and for, to bounce ideas off of other people. So, yeah. So, do I have any? Actually, I'll answer this one first. Have I contacted Cody about a collab? I actually saw him in I traveled to Utah this like, I don't know, not a month ago maybe. Yeah, I left for Utah about a month ago. So I was there, like, got back from my trip like 3 weeks ago. I saw Cody there, and that was pretty cool. Like, it was the first time I met him in person. Before that, we only really talked vaguely over like Patreon. But Cody, honestly, he likes to do his own projects on his own. I know he's done like several collaborations with people, but he's kind of a little bit of a lone wolf when it comes to his projects, which I totally respect. Like, I totally understand. Like, I think Cody is a very, very true lover of science. Like, he completely just sees a project he likes and goes for it. And I think for him, maybe collaborating with people isn't necessarily his style. He also lives across the country too, so we'd have to probably either I fly there or I do like over the internet collaboration, which is fun, and I it is something that I'm willing to do. It's just not as it's just not the same as if you literally have someone else to work with, which I think is kind of what I want now. So, have I ever considered making any videos demonstrating more general reaction mechanisms, such as substitutions, using specific examples? I mean, I've done that in the past. I've made a few videos where I did, what's it called? Like substitution reactions, and showed them, well, in the video I was doing it, and I explained that it was a substitution. But it's tough because part of what I have to do on YouTube is that I have to balance it between being technical and entertainment. And honestly, I'm going to say that I found, personally, I like it being on the more entertainment side, where I give enough details that you're learning, but I'm not full-fledged going into, the nitty-gritty of reaction mechanisms and electron pushing and all of that. For the video format, I don't really enjoy doing that much. For one-on-one, I like tutoring people and reasoning through that stuff, but I'm not really as much of a fan in the video format. At least in the video types that I'm making, and that's the thing. And also, one other thing my brother's going to help me do is I wanted to actually start writing a book. I mentioned this in my last live stream, I think. Yeah, I think I did. I want to just write like a chemistry themed book that is a mix of technical and entertainment that can get people who are not necessarily super knowledgeable in chemistry or really care about chemistry, that they can read it and appreciate it, and maybe even sparks an interest. I have basically no details though. Like I know that the first chapter, I've decided that the first chapter is going to be called like what's it called, like something along the lines like why does chemistry even matter, or why is chemistry even useful. So it talks about why I personally think why chemistry is important, and then I mean, I don't know what the rest of that's part of it. I feel like I just haven't had, since I've been working everything on my own, just doing all the work, I just haven't had time to really dedicate it to some of these other things. So, but that's what I want to work on. So wait, yeah, Lee Damon says, suggestion for a collab. I keep saying collab. Yeah, collab is I create something, send it to them, and figure out what it is. It's an interesting idea. It just depends like how it's formatted, because that might be literally impossible. Like if someone sends me some crazy organic chemical and all I have are some basic procedures to figure it out, it's kind of like I'm screwed. I have to do like a full analysis. I'd have to do like an NMR and all that other stuff. So there'd have to be a little like constraints to the game. That could be interesting. So do I have any job except running a YouTube channel? No. And that's the thing, like from an outside perspective, you see the channel I post like once every 2 weeks now. It seems, and I totally get it. Like I see other video channels that they post once every 2 weeks, and I always think like, what are they doing in between that time? But that's only because I'm not there. And so I totally understand it from an outside perspective, but it's like I work to get 2 videos out a month now. I work every single day. And because it also involves like clerical work for the business, I have to get supplies, I have to plan the stuff, I have to write scripts, I have to order chemicals, I have to test things behind the scenes, and then I actually have to like record it and film it, but at the same time I have to edit for the other projects. So it's like once you put all that stuff together, and then on top of it, for a while I had to ship out all my glassware that I was selling. Right now my mom covers that, so thank God, but it surprisingly is a lot of work. And yeah, so basically my response to do I have a job outside except running a YouTube channel is like, no. I could not run the channel how I do it now if I had a job. When I first started this full time, well, that doesn't actually make sense then. If I started full time, I don't have a job. So before I started it full time, I did have a job at the same time. So I worked at a grocery store, and then I worked as a grad student. So I did both at the same time. But it's very draining to do that. Like I worked in the lab from like 9 to 5, got home at 6, and then I worked in my garage on chemistry from like 6 to midnight. Then you wake up and go to the next day and you do more chem. And I don't think that there's anything necessarily wrong with that. For me personally though, it kind of got really draining because A, you're doing chem all day, and then B, it's all solo work. So even when you get home afterwards, you're not seeing friends, you're not seeing anyone. You're kind of just like, again, on your own, like a grad student, just hammering out experiments and doing research. So it bothered me a little bit, honestly. So when I finally was able to support myself on YouTube alone, I just abandoned all jobs. So when I make a video about cleaning equipment, yeah. It's funny because I have developed like a whole technique for it. My issue with my channel now, and maybe you guys can chime in on what you think about this. So over time, my channel, when I first made my channel, so I said channel like 6 times now, but over time, or sorry, when I first made it, I'm not gonna say I didn't care, but I didn't have any of the anxieties I have now about it. I didn't have expectations. I kind of just made a video and posted it because I didn't really have that many viewers, so I didn't have that many people who I felt I needed to satisfy. Whereas now, I feel like people expect a certain thing from my video. So if I posted like a short video of just like, how to clean my glassware, I feel like people would not find that. Like, people are used to seeing now every video that I post is like a project. They'd be like, yeah, like every one I posted was like a complete begin to end project. And I felt that people just didn't really, it would be out of place if I posted a short video that just covered, a very narrow topic. But I would like to know your guys' opinions on that, because I feel like that's something that I would like to do, but I haven't, because maybe in my head I've downplayed the interest that people might have in it. Yeah, Dag fan. Someone just sends me meth. Yeah, that'd be great. And then I'm testing it while I'm filming the video, find out it's meth, so then I freak out, get rid of it, and then that's when the government decides to give me a surprise visit and test to see if I'm making meth, and then all the tests come back positive and I go to jail. That'd be a great story. So, yeah, so Lee, you're saying like cooking as applied chemistry. What do you mean by that? Like, I mean, in general, cooking has a lot of chemistry involved in it. And that's absolutely for sure. But do you have any examples that you would specifically like to see? Yeah, so Slothman, like I do venture into inorganics like every so often. Like, it just depends what I'm doing and what my interests are at the time. Um, I think though, like for example, you mentioned like making the copper rainbow. I personally think there's definitely interest in that. There's for sure interest in doing that. I just think that because I've been working on my channel alone for so long, I've kind of got locked into a certain format of video where it's like I decide I want to do a project, I do the project, show, and then at the end I show how it's all relevant. But it's like I like doing it, but it's a very similar format, and I feel like I've kind of got stuck in that. And I also feel if I venture from that, then people won't like it. But I think I'm gonna start. So that's a decent idea. I'll look into it. I can't promise I'll do it. I think the next project I post that'll be similar to that will be my I'll do the what's it called? Forgetting the name now. Oh, the chemical traffic light experiment. Because when I made my indigo carmine, I showed some details about it, but I want to go into more detail about it in general. Oof, I didn't realize there were so many comments down there. Yeah, so Jonathan, you're saying to use Nile Blue for like other random stuff. There's a lot of other stuff I'd like to cover. It's just, again, my issue was that my channel expanded so quickly. I would say very quickly over the course of a year. And then I got like, this whole new office. I got a lot of stuff that I kind of just felt like I didn't have time for all that. Like, I had way more time to make Nile Blue when I made it. Like, I spent like days working on one of those videos, or I spent days working on like most of the stuff that I post there. So, well, maybe not the soap one, because that was just cut off from my main video. But I do think that I should keep posting. And like one thing that there's a question up there where someone asked me, do I just not like the bio side of biochem? And that's just actually not true. I actually prefer, well, that's not true either. I don't prefer the bio side, but I do think that I did my degree in biochem because I liked it. So the bio part is very important important to me, and I've always found like biochem very interesting. And I do think that I've kind of that is something that I want to start covering. I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but I would like to maybe post videos on Nile Blue that might be a little bit more tailored to biochem stuff. And just, I don't know, yeah, maybe some other random stuff in general. It's just my issue is that when I post there, there's no Patreon support, and I don't feel comfortable. I'm not going to post, bill you guys for a video that maybe 90% of you don't even want to see. And I don't really want to make a second Patreon for it. So, and then now it's below the threshold for monetization. So I literally, there's no earnings if I post stuff there. And I'm okay with that. But I feel I just need to really schedule it in to get that stuff done. Or started, I would say at least. Because I feel like I keep making those Nile Blue videos. And then I'll promise that I'll keep doing it. And then I get caught up with the Nile Red stuff. Yeah, so 777 arc. Basically, I mean, there's a few ways to clean glassware. It depends what goes in it. And I'd say the most important thing to clean glassware and keep it clean is clean it the moment you use it. Because the moment you let it sit there, you're kind of screwed. Depending on what it is. If it's some inorganic, some of them when they set in, you have to like start using Aqua Regia, and if that doesn't work, then you kind of just have a stain. Your glassware is just stained. But no, generally I actually do it pretty simply. It's just water and a lot of times I just use hot water and soap. That's basically it. And then a manual scrub on the inside with like a brush or paper or something. Yeah, and Dagfin, I appreciate that. What's it called? I appreciate that you appreciate my work. Have you ever heard of the drunkometer? No, I have never heard of that. What is that? Drunkometer. I'm not gonna launch it now, but I will look into it later. Okay, so Andrew, you're down for like the short videos. I've wanted to make them. I just think that I don't know what you guys think about this. And again, I'm gonna be reading your comments delayed because I'm just going down the comments now. But what do you guys think about me I'd say me appearing in my videos more often, because that is a format I've been wanting to try for a while. Because what I do now is I always just film the projects and then I build the narration afterwards. Like, of course, I mean, I just base it on the notes that I took in the lab. But what do you guys think about doing more of like a live type video? I'm not saying I would have a camera person and everything. It would still be like a high quality video. I'm not saying that I'm filming it like on my phone and it's like a vlog. That's not what I'm saying. But it would be more, I mean, I would appear in the actual process of it more, and it would just be more lively in that sense. I don't know if that makes sense. And the audio, probably 50% of the audio would be filmed on site. So it gives a different feel, but it's something, I mean, it would be different. Like, I guess the main question is, how do you guys feel about me switching up the style that I make my videos in now? Like, I still feel like the quality would be the same. I'm not sacrificing anything of that. I'm not saying the videos are going to be lazy or anything, but what do you guys think about changing up the style? I guess I'll leave it at that, and I'll get to your comments when I scroll down. Okay, so okay, yeah, so I'll go back to what I said. So Andrew Hess is saying he's open to little videos interspersed with normal content. That's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and if you follow me on Twitter, I comment like probably at least once every month or 2 months saying I'm gonna do shorter videos, and then they just never happen. And the reason for that is because I've very severely underestimated how long it takes me to edit videos, and I think my work ethic was a little bit unfair to me, because if I knew it took me, let's say, 5 days working 10 hours a day or 11 hours a day to edit a video, I would give myself 5 days to edit it. So now I'm kind of thinking that I should be a bit nicer, and I'm, trying to take evenings off. That would be nice, and maybe, take a weekend. And I think if I do that, in that time, I can start working on, I mean, I'm saying I'm taking time off, and I'm saying I'm going to use that time to work on stuff. But I think combination of doing that and getting my brother to work with me and to take a lot of the pressure off of me, I will be able to make some more shorter and lighthearted, like easier to digest content. So also in cooking, there's a lot of chem we don't even understand, like the Maillard. Yeah, like that. It's I wouldn't say it's not necessarily that we don't understand it. It's because you have so many amino acids and so many sugars and so many breakdown products. Um, it's just almost impossible to track. But I think there's definitely the mylar is something I want to cover for in like I want to cover it for a while because it's definitely a pretty cool. It's definitely a really cool reaction. I mean, everybody knows that. Well, maybe I'm speaking on behalf of too many people, but like toasted stuff tastes a lot better, and you know you have like you brown your marshmallow on the fire and it tastes better, and I think it would be cool, yeah, to talk about all that stuff. So that was a weird way to say it, but whatever. So if you have, okay, yeah. So full call, you're saying if I have time, smaller videos could fit. Yeah, for sure. And I think it's not a matter of me having more time. I think it's mostly just like I've said before, it's delegating tasks, um, and actually having someone to work with. The moment I do that, I should have so much more time to work on these smaller videos. And I think overall, be good for the channel. So having to deal with the desires of YouTube is always an issue. Maybe little things that would be, yeah, maybe little things could be more for a live stream. I kind of agree with you. I think that that's probably a good idea. And I'm going to try to do a live stream more often because I find that it is grounding for me a little bit because when I get so wrapped up in just filming and editing, you kind of lose like you kind of lose connection, I guess, with the community because you feel like, you know, you're not putting anything out. You're not getting comments. You're not getting like anything on the current work you're doing. So you do kind of feel like you're losing a little bit of a connection. And I think a live stream, like maybe once a week, where I can just go over the stuff that I've worked on, the stuff that I will work on, and, you know, stuff that I'm currently working on, could be pretty cool. And I can show things, like plan them, saying, today I'm going to show how I clean my glassware. That could be pretty fun. I don't know if you guys can comment, how do I set up a live stream so that I can actually like move the camera around? All I know how to do it now is with my webcam, and that's kind of fixed to my desktop. I mean, I can get a laptop. Is that the best way? Like you carry a laptop around the lab? Because if I were to show you stuff, I can't obviously just leave it in one spot. Or maybe I could actually. I don't know. So wait. Oh no. Oh no. I've lost my spot. Okay, so the vast majority of cooking is chemistry. This is by Lee Damon, saying heat, mixtures, emulsions, just suggesting that I might explore some of the other specific things and how they directly apply to people's daily lives. Yeah, I think that's a very good idea, and it's something that I've wanted to do for a while. I mean, it's the reason why at the end of my videos I started heavily integrating why these chemicals and other things are useful and how they're practical, and it's because, you know, that's important for me. I feel that practical application is incredibly important for my understanding. If I don't have a practical purpose for something, I kind of just don't have an interest. Or it's hard for me to understand it and to have an interest in it. Oh, so you're saying that, so L. Johnson saying for the drunkometer, you just blow air through potassium permanganate. Okay, because I'm pretty sure potassium permanganate oxidizes, I mean, it'll oxidize the alcohol either, I think it goes all the way to acetic acid. Yeah. And if you have it as a dilute potassium permanganate solution, you'll have, you know, you're faintly purple. But if you blow your alcohol through it, color will diminish, and you can probably actually see the how much alcohol you have visually, which would be cool. But I guess to really quantify it, you need to get like a little machine to read it. Okay, yeah. So Folkall, you seem to be very interested in the glassware cleaning. Yeah, I can show that, and I think that that's something that I should do. So I'll keep that on my list on something that I could just post. I mean, I could just make a video on and just post it to Patreon for fun. Yeah. So 777 Arc, you're saying if I don't venture from it, it can get repetitive, and I totally agree with you, and I think that also to a certain extent, it's important for me as well because it's nice to have a groove where you know how to make things and you know how things, you know how you want things to be and you know how to make them that way. But there's also a problem with getting stuck in it. So not only do I maybe get a little bit feels repetitive, but then if I start feeling repetitive, then maybe that could either bleed through in the content or yeah, some people might also just start feeling it's repetitive. I think it would be a good idea. I know when I started doing like the edible chem, people liked that it was a whole mix up from the norm. I guess, yeah. So I totally agree with that. I think the issue with me, which I've come to realize, is that I have an issue with feeling like now that the channel has so many viewers, subscribers, everything, and I have so much support, you feel like there's this pressure on you that the next thing that you put out can't be like, it has to be just as good or better than the last thing you did. So trying out new formats starts to become hard because you feel like there's going to be so much more criticism if it doesn't work. But I think I kind of just have to accept that's just part of the job. Yeah, so Jonathan, you're right. So it's like once my brother joins, we'll be able to diversify. And I think that the biggest issue for me is that, or anyone who works on their own for stuff, especially in like art, anything creative, is that if you don't have someone else there, you only get my opinion. So if in my head I'm like, hey, I don't know how to do this video like that, then I just won't do it. Whereas he might go, oh, actually you could do it this way. And you get encouragement to change up your style, and I think that would be actually pretty good. But also, like I said, I'm not going to change it so crazy that people are going to be annoyed by it. I don't mean I'm just going to become like one of those weird short video making channels that just post 2-minute chem videos with music in the background. Yeah, so he is making shorter, less quote edited update videos. The problem with me is I don't really think that fits my work format. He does a lot more research, especially in what he's doing now. I tend to actually do more established stuff to a certain degree. Like obviously I still tinker with procedures and everything, but it's a little bit more established. So I don't think doing like the updates makes total sense. But I still think doing little shorter videos could be good. But I also think it might be nice to do it in a little bit more casual sense, because that's one thing that I found, I'm not going to say lacking from the channel. I don't know if you guys again can comment on this, and I'll read the comments when I get to it. But it's like, I feel that being behind the mic all the time and just speaking into my computer, editing the audio and putting it out, I do feel there's less of a connection with the audience, especially when I don't necessarily appear in the videos. So it's just very impersonal. So yeah, so I don't know if you guys feel the same. Like, how would you, I actually, well, I kind of just asked this before. Maybe I'm going to get doubled answers on that. Like, kind of just rambling on about stuff now. But I do feel it's a little bit, I want to make the videos a little bit more personal. So you guys can, yeah, I feel it's a little bit more sterile when I'm stuck behind the mic. So Martin says, with my brother there, how will that affect the channel? Honestly, I mean, in my mind, it'll make it better. Because, yeah. I mean, he's going, I mentioned before, he's going to help me with scripting. He's going to help me with project ideas. He's going to help me with a lot of stuff. So I think it'll be better because it means that I won't be, if I have a bad idea, I'll be told it's a bad idea. Whereas now it's kind of like I have a bad idea and then I edit it and post it. So in some videos I post them and people are like, why'd you even do that? And I'm like, oh. So I think having someone here, at least he's going to be here for at least the next few months or till the end of the year. So it should be interesting. And yeah, Cuba, this, Cuba, sorry, I said it before. I guess it's Cuba or Cuba. It's only for Patreon supporters. I made it. I was going to make it for Twitter as well. And that was originally the plan, but then I canceled both on Twitter and Patreon. And I was like, I'll just cancel on Twitter and I won't update them. I'll just come back tomorrow. So yeah, so L Johnson, you're saying that you appreciate me holding myself to a higher standard, or to a high standard. It's good and it's bad. Honestly, like, I would say it's good and it's bad. I think I honestly exist a little bit too far on the bad side, because it means that, you know, you means you won't put out garbage, but you also don't take the risk to put out something that might be good because you're afraid of it not being good. So it's kind of like, yeah, you got to strike a balance between that. But yeah, so doing this chem live would be something I think would be really cool. The only thing I'm afraid of is you guys are going to see a totally different side of how the chem goes. Because, I mean, in my videos, I would say, again, it's sterile in the sense that I put a lot of effort in making the videos clean. So I'm actually making a ferrofluid right now, and that's probably one of the messiest videos I've ever made. Same as like the whole, I think it was when I made the photochromism one. I got like epoxy everywhere, but you don't see it because I use Bristol boards as my backdrops, and I just change them for every single shot when it gets dirty. So it gives like a weird idea that chem is super clean and things just work well. But it's like if I do the live science, obviously I don't have that, and the camera angle is going to be different. So you're going to see how messy it is. It won't seem as clean. So with John White, you're saying make small experiments when trying new styles. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Yeah, so actually, if you look at Explosions in Fire, that I honestly, I don't know if I've told him this before, but it's like the way he formats it is something that I really like. The one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't show his syntheses in depth, usually because he's making explosives, or I assume that's why. But I do like his format. Like, you see how he appears in it, and he as far as I know, I mean, I'm not best buddies with him, so I don't know exactly how he is in everyday life, but you can tell like the videos are very personal, and I think that's something that well, I've said something like 3 times now, but that is interesting to me and something that I would like to do to a certain degree to make them more personable like that. I'm not saying all of them either, and I'm also gonna, at the very least, make it a mix. Like, I'm never gonna stop having, like I said, like my clean shots with nice backgrounds. Like, that's never gonna stop. But it's like, I would like to have it a bit more personal like that. So Dagfin saying live cam with 3 to 4 static cams. I would love to do that. I just don't even know how to set that up. And then it's like 3 to 4 cameras. I don't even know what cameras you do live stuff with like that. So that's a part of the thing. Like, I need to just spend the next 2 months, really hammer out the details and figure out all this stuff, and just try out some new things. And yeah, like Jonathan, you're saying like, yeah, you can tell when people don't like your stuff. And I think I just have to accept. Okay, I'll say, to be honest, when I first started my channel, it was very hard for me to accept if people didn't like stuff. I took it very personally. But as time went on, you know, you kind of just do what you do, and you have to accept that not everyone is really into what you're doing. Even like the last video I posted for the cyanotype, I get messages from people saying they loved it, and then I got some comments saying, "Oh, it was a little long. I didn't really like how long it was, and I didn't like how there wasn't synthesis." And it's kind of just like, I mean, people liked it. I mean, as long as it doesn't have like a 90% dislike or even 50%, it's okay. But it's still important to judge that. But at the end of the day, like, people are not really always gonna like what I do. But I have to learn. Now I know that that's okay for people to not like my stuff necessarily, but I have to learn that it's okay to try new things. If people don't like it, then I can just switch it up. Like, I'm not committing to like months of the same thing that people aren't going to like. I'm glad to see that you guys are saying variety is nice. Because I think it is too. Even like when I mix things up between edible chem and regular chem, I had a lot of fun appearing in front of the camera. Just the reason that, the problem with that, and you guys might not know this, well, almost definitely don't, try filming yourself with like a DSLR. You have to set it all up, and then you have to find the focus on yourself. And it's like when you're all alone and you're trying to focus on yourself, you're behind the camera. You can't focus on you where you're going to sit. So it's like, unless I'm just have no idea what I'm doing, it's like you have to focus on something random, and then you have to take that away when you sit down. Like, it starts to become like a big pain. So I think if I were to switch it up like that type of stuff and do more, I want to do more edible chem, and with my brother there, it'd be so much easier because I could just have someone behind the camera to help me out with that kind of stuff. Sorry, I keep rambling on for a lot of questions, and I'm never going to make it to the bottom. And I also should put a time limit on this video, probably for the next like half an hour or so. Also, sorry, I might have to answer a text here. Sorry. Okay, so okay, so yeah, Sherlock, you're saying appearing more often would be cool. Yeah, and that's whoa, my thing just like got, maybe I didn't notice. I feel like my webcam just got way brighter. Oh well, I guess it's just overexposed now. Yeah, I think that's one thing that happened. I got so caught up in making videos and everything, and you know, the whole YouTube game, that I've kind of let the fun part of it slip. So I'm gonna be focusing on that now. And maybe, so John says, and maybe put videos that people are used to after a particularly, okay. So if it's something unpopular, you're telling me, it's probably, yeah, it's a good idea for me to, what's it called? To refresh it with something that people are used to. But that's the thing, I'm never going to stop making the videos that I do because I like doing them. It's more just mixing it up so that I'm not always doing, you know, the same thing. And I also think that it'd be cool for, like, people mentioned collabs, like for my brother to appear in the video. That could be cool too. Yeah, it's cool. Like, you're right about the live streaming, that I could do it as like a sneak preview to like the things that are coming up. I don't have to necessarily. Yeah, that's kind of actually a cool idea. If I show how I'm cleaning up or little small things. But it's like if I do a live stream, I want to do it for at least an hour or so. I don't want to have people tune in for like 10 minutes. So I have to make sure I have some content. So you're saying like live streaming the preparations. I was always thinking about putting like a GoPro in the fume hood. That could be cool. The problem is the fume hood's loud, so I couldn't really get sound in there. I definitely think it would be cool. And it's just, like someone up there said, I need to focus on just doing things that are more fun like that. Because I think, like I said, I got very trapped in the produce, make videos part of the channel, and not necessarily the fun part. Like, one thing I should do too, like besides these live streams, is I mean, this doesn't actually benefit a lot of you guys, but doing like local meetups and stuff like that might be pretty cool. So John, what you're saying, frequent live streams will be good because I have a nice public. What is that? What do you mean by nice public? Oh, okay. So you mean like nice viewers. So it won't be like profanities and terrible things in the comments. Also, I feel like this webcam did definitely get a lot brighter. Okay, so. I've never seen Binging with Babish's live streams. Maybe I'll check them out to get an idea on what I should do. That's definitely a good idea. Because, I mean, he's cooking, but it's probably kind of similar. I mean, chem, but like I said, though, if you guys are going to see my work ethic, and some of you might not be impressed. Yeah, so Asabina, you're saying like you worked in the past where you're alone. The problem with me is that it's the channel you do that. I mean, the way the channel started was it was something that I did as a hobby, and it kind of evolved into this. So I often, especially when I worked at home, I didn't have this issue where I wasn't around people. And it was very easy to get away. Like if I was like, oh, I'm running an experiment for 5 hours, I could just go in my house and have a friend over. But my office is not near where I live. And it's like I have to more arrange for people to be here. So in the past, like, few months, I found you go to the office at like, 10 a.m. and you leave at like, I don't know, 8 or 9. Then you get home. It's a weekday. And then I just work on some stuff, maybe watch some TV while I work on some stuff and go to bed. And it was kind of just like, wait, I need to have people involved here. It just didn't occur to me until recently, like, that it actually bothered me. And hi, Adam. It's nice to have you here. He's joining after work. I don't know when this message was sent, but I don't know how long I'm going to be here still. Probably, I'll give it at least half an hour. Okay, so Martin. R. Lemonine, or R. Limone, sorry, and S. Limone. That could be interesting. Do they have, like, known different flavors, like the R and S enantiomers? Yeah. Maybe he means limonene. I don't know what limone is. And Adam, you're saying that I can use Patreon to test new things? For sure. That's kind of like why I'm here today, to tell you guys about this. I still haven't even done my public live stream. I've never done a public YouTube live stream. I've always done it with you guys. It's also nice because like I can read through the comments slowly, whereas on a public one, I'll probably be getting so many comments that I can't answer every question, which makes it feel a little bit less personal, because I like having it where every person gets their question addressed. So, do my videos get any reactions? Yeah, like, actually, I'm surprised at how many people watch it. And that's kind of the thing that always blows my mind, is because nobody, I mean, besides like ad companies, no one contacts me about, I guess not true. Like, very few people contact me, but I do hear through other people about people who watch my videos. So, to give you an idea, I'll tell you, like, in a month, I'm supposed to be going to New York City, to go work with a company who wants me to help them learn how to do more practical chem, because they do a lot of contract work, but they said that they just want to be brushed up more on their practical chem. So they want to have me out and help them. And they told me they heard about me because I think he said they were working on a contract with the government, and then the government scientists were saying that they watch my videos and that I'd be a good reference for them to watch if they want to brush up on their lab stuff. And I was like, huh. I had no idea. But in general, I'm surprised that people actually, every video I put out, I always think someone's going to tell me I'm terrible and that I don't know what I'm doing. But surprisingly, I mean, either I'm actually good at what I do, or people just are very nice. But in general, it's been received very well by the public and the professional community in general. And yeah, I give very long-winded answers apparently too. So, Solomon saying, this might be a big jump from the norm, but have I thought of doing a series on researching and experimenting? Yeah, and I don't know what you mean exactly by that. Like, showing how I got from beginning to end on something? Is that what you mean? Because that would be interesting. And I've kind of done stuff like that before. The next video I post, I mean, it's an exploratory thing. Like, there's no procedure for it online. I just came up with the answer myself. But I'll tell you this right now. If you had to document real research, kind of like how Nerd Rage is doing his sodium stuff, you wouldn't want to watch it, because there's so much failure and so many dead ends and no clear narrative between it. It would be like, a 40-hour video where it doesn't really have a purpose. So it's very hard to do videos on true research. If you do it, you spent like 6 months working on it, and then you post like a 10-minute summary video. So it's like a huge time investment for a 10-minute video. So it becomes very tough for me to do that. I can do it for smaller things. Like I said, the next video I came out, come up with an idea, decide that I want to bring it to reality, and I do it. So that's possible. I think I don't even know if I answered your question, though. Yeah, so Lee Damien, you're saying that if I show interest in the topic, it helps make the video more interesting. And I agree with you, which is why I'll never, ever do a video that I don't think is interesting. And yeah, so Adam, you're saying that the voiceover is professional, but there's a lack of personability. I agree with you. And it's very hard to get that personal aspect when you are doing a voiceover, because it's like, if I'm saying, you know, I poured sodium hydroxide into a beaker, how can I say that sounds like exciting? And then if I do it, you sound like those crazy chem videos or videos where the person's so enthusiastic it's unhealthy. That's why I think having a camera in person and doing maybe more live audio, it might help with that. Okay, so Solomon, you're saying you've been on and off trying to do research to detect the toxin microcystin. Okay, yeah. So like, I guess you mean like more open-ended videos, like not necessarily like I have to, you know, 100% come to a conclusion at the end. You're saying I can more, it's more of an open-ended. I show my results. That could be interesting. That could be interesting. It's something that I definitely should consider. Oh my God, I'm 15 minutes behind. Oh no. I'm gonna ban you for saying that. No. I will just have to read much faster and to skip over questions. My answers will no longer be 10 minutes each. I'll keep it to fast. So okay, so yeah, John White, you're saying that you like that even though they're professional and somewhat detached, it has a good quality. I agree with you, but I also think that having that personable aspect is important to me, and it's something that I have to add. Okay. Okay, so L. Johnson saying he figures live chem is going to be a lot more frantic. I would just say that it's a lot more messy. So it's like in my videos, everything seems perfect, everything seems nice, but it's like you don't see the times where I went to go pour something and I missed the beaker and was like, ugh. Or when I dropped something in and it didn't go in properly, and it splashed and made a problem. Luckily, I don't knock things over too often, but it's happened. Like I've done videos where when I worked in a lab, I tried to do an experiment. I knocked the beaker over 6 times, and on the 6th one, I shattered it. But when I post my video about it, oh, it worked all perfectly. So yeah, so Dagfin saying it's just a lot of failure in cleaning up. Yeah, basically. But it's also like part of the fun. It's like just how it is, right? So it's like, yeah, and it's funny because I am trying to speed up my questions, and then I, of course, slow down. But you're going to see, like, it shows a different aspect, and I guess, like, I had some fear about it where someone asked about how the professional community accepts me. I guess, like, I kind of hid from it by making everything look all proper and nice, and I have this, like, little bit of a fear that if I show people actually how the chem is, they might go, oh, that's so messy, but it's also reality, and they know that. So you might see some stuff that's kind of funny. Okay, so just trying to read more. Yeah, Kaba. Again, if that's how your name's pronounced. Good night. Glad to have you here. Yeah, I am really far behind on the questions. Okay. Gonna speed up. Gonna sit up for this too. Okay. I literally, Adam Longberry saying work for Modern Rogue. I don't even know who Modern Rogue is. So that's my comment. I have no idea who that is. Modern Rogue is... I don't know. I have no idea who that is. So my comment is... yeah, so I'm going to use an external mic. The Fume Hood and GoPro, I'm going to have to use an external mic. I have a nice mic. I just have to set everything up. And L. John said, you don't have to just give me more money because your other patron quit. You can give it to someone else who's help them start up too. That could be nice too. That's cool. I didn't know RNS limonene had different flavors. Oh, John, you're saying you like the 10-minute answers. Now that I'm speeding up, you don't like it. Yeah, and like that's the thing. Like, including the outtakes at the end could be fun. I mean, yeah, it's fun. And you definitely screw up a lot, and that's part of the fun about all of it. Oh, actually, it's to the bottom of the comments here. So I didn't need to speed up. Oh, no. Yeah, so it's like, I think a blooper reel could be fun. I think the biggest problem... well, I thought I was so much further behind, but now I'm at the bottom of the questions now. Damn. What I should do, yeah. Now I'm out of questions. What do I do? Maybe I can, what's it called? Post it to Twitter and get it inundated with random people. No, I won't do that now. That'll be for tomorrow. You guys, yeah. So tomorrow at 5, I should do another live stream. Yeah, maybe they did. Oh, no, you guys are all commenting. I can't keep up with this. Yeah. One other thing I think is cool. I don't know how you guys can do that. If you guys know how to do this. If I can get it, so if one of you guys wants to participate in like, what's it called? Like a conversation as in like you join in person, that could be interesting. Or if I get like, you know, it might be cool if I did live streams where I just talked to like Cody or the guy, I forget his name off the top of my head, from Explosions and Fire. If you're listening to this, don't hate me for forgetting your name. Yeah, I think that'd be cool. But it's like, there's a lot of stuff that I've wanted to do for a while. And I just need to do it. So yeah, like L. Johnson, you're saying, like, do I have any other hobbies besides chemistry and video editing? And honestly, that's been a problem because as you can talk to anybody who runs their own like business. I mean, that's what it is at this point. And it gets to a point where you're spending so much time doing what was your hobby that eventually you have no hobbies. And that kind of happened to me like 2 months ago. And that's when I realized it was kind of an issue. Because chem is my hobby. I actually don't mind editing that much. What is a problem for me is when you spend so much time just making like 2 videos a month that you don't get to do the more creative stuff. Like, those videos I make are the bread and butter of the channel, but I need to make, like I said, those other types of videos. Like, people talked about Nile Blue, how it just went to oblivion. One thing that I would love to get into is attacking, like, chemistry pseudoscience. Like, I've always thought a really cool format would be having myths or ideas that people have about chem that are just ridiculous, or that I can easily prove practically, and to show people why they're not good and to talk about it. So it would be like a fun mix of practical applications. Maybe it'll, it could be funny because, you're commenting on some things that are ridiculous. And at the same time, it's just, I don't know, it's just fun. So it's like the one thing that I want to do, and I guess I'll say it now, it's kind of funny, is the whole idea of red mercury. So since I started my channel, I've had so many people ask me about red mercury. I don't know if you guys know about this. If you look it up, it's like some mythical form of mercury that's like super powerful, and it can, I don't know, people say it's explosive, other people say it does all this other stuff, but I've gotten so many emails, people offering me so much money to make it. If you watch videos, if you look it up on YouTube, there's random videos of just red mercury, and people show weird things. They like put lemon and lime on it. Not lemon. Yeah, maybe just lemon, and they show it doesn't react. Nothing changes. They like squish it through a cheesecloth, and they show that it weighs like, has a higher density. And it's just mercury that's red. And then you get all these comments, people wanting to buy it. And I was like, it's like a very, very odd thing. Like if you go look up the videos, it'll be odd. They're all like terribly filmed videos on, it's low, like it's 2018, and it looks like these people went out of their way to buy phones from like 2005 to film these videos. They probably did, honestly, because in high def, you probably notice that it's all fake. But it's interesting. And I got an email a while ago. I don't have time. I can't pull it up right now. But, well, it's actually kind of weirder than an email. I got a message because YouTube is shutting down messages. Yes, the Yeti totally uses red mercury, and so do I heard that wizards use it too, though. So, and that's what I'll get to. So, YouTube is shutting down messages. They realize that nobody uses it, so you're not gonna be able to send, receive, and I think they might be archived, the ones that are sent. So I went to go and look what I had, as a final farewell to all those messages, and I saw a person. I won't name them. It doesn't even matter. It's just a first name. But I saw a message, and then she's like, how can I get in contact with you? And I recognized her name from years ago when I had the channel, because I talked to her about it, saying that she'll pay me like 10 grand to make red mercury. So I just responded to her. I'm like, contact me at my email. That's it. You can contact me, ask me a question. I knew she was going to ask me about red mercury. So then that's how she asks it. She's like, can you make red mercury? I can pay you a lot of money. And of course I gave the same thing. I don't know how to make it. Whatever. And she's like, that. And then I asked, I'm doing a terrible job at relaying the actual conversation. It's kind of like the flat earthers. So it's a very odd thing, except it's even more in the realm of crazy. So I was like, I can't make it. I actually want to make a video on debunking it. So while I was talking to her, I was like, you're actually content for this video whenever I make it. But it was just funny because I asked her, just out of curiosity, what is it used for? And she goes, I will tell you, but you will not believe me. And I was like, okay, like try me. Let's see if I won't believe you. And she's like, red mercury. You get red mercury because you give it to a wizard who I think trades it to the devil in exchange for billions of dollars. And I was like, oh, okay. Actually, I don't know if I responded. Because I was like, yeah, you're right. I don't believe you. That was kind of funny. I can actually check if I responded. Oh, no, I feel bad. No, I never responded. Oh, no. I don't get, like, who knows a wizard? That's what I don't get. And the other thing, too, is I don't get, like, the devil deals in cash. So it's like he's what? I just don't get it. Like, money doesn't just come from nowhere. So what, he's like a billionaire businessman? But how can a billionaire businessman just give away billions of dollars? Like, you don't just sit on this money and just give it. It's going to have to be, I don't know. It's like, it just doesn't really, logistically, it doesn't make sense to me. And if this person, or if the wizard, or sorry, the devil is in the form of a person, then why do you need a wizard to give it to them? I don't know. But there's also, it's like, I want to do this whole documentary thing on it where I pretend I'm a buyer. I did it already through email, but I want to call them, have them tell me about the red mercury, get an idea about it, and then the rest of the video would be kind of like, what is it? Because obviously it's a scam. These people are not selling like You know, if you can make something that can make you billions, why would you sell it? Yeah, maybe she was trying to throw me off, but so it's a bit odd, but I think it'd be cool to have like that mix of, you know, a little mystery, a little comedy, maybe, and a bit of what's it called? Chemistry as well, because I'd show the practical side where I'm like, how are they doing this? Yeah, I don't know where you get wizards. Also, one sec. I just want to show you guys something that I made the other day. Ugh, okay. Gotta make oh, yes. L. Johnson knows. It's my ferrofluid. So I'm all proud of it because it took me a long time to make. So here it is. Hopefully I don't drop it. Here. Here, I'll just go closer. That's my... Oh, it's so hard to see. Just 1 second. But it's pretty good. But I didn't make very much of it. And I don't know if you guys have experience with ferrofluids in general. But like, how much... Because this doesn't spike, as you see with a lot of ferrofluids. And I think it's good enough quality. I think I just need to... I guess I just need more of it, right? Because I only had like 2.5 milliliters of it. So I don't think that I have enough to really see it spike. But actually, going back to whoever asked the question of doing research, it's kind of like, that's kind of how, like I said, this video that's coming up is going to be, and the ferrofluid video, because there were so many different procedures on how to make it that I kind of just like went with what I thought would be good, and I mixed a bunch of different ones, but it doesn't make good ferrofluid. Like, none of the ones out there make good ones. And I had to find some random dude on YouTube who made a good quality one. And he kind of explained, in order to make the good quality stuff, you have to prepare your nanoparticles, and then it's about purifying out the good ones. But I started with like 0.1 molar quantities of stuff, and I ended up with 2.5 mils. So that's pretty horrible. And yeah, Lee Damon, I did see Brainiac's one, but it's not a true ferrofluid because it's like more of like a paste, if that's the one you're talking about. I kind of really want to make the ones that it's like a true ferrofluid that get, you know, those really surreal looking spikes that look almost like smooth CGI. And it's like, I was able to get like a decent, now that it's fallen down here, I can show you again. Like it's decently magnetic. You can see the magnet like, oh, you can't really see, pulls to it. Then everything moves with it. Oops. And if I leave the magnet on it, like nothing separates. I just think I need more to get the spiking. But yeah. Also, sorry, I have to respond to a text message. Okay, yeah. So Adam Longmire, you're saying like, what's it called? Yeah, I saw the King of Randoms, but again, it's like, so I've done a lot of research now. No, it doesn't. Like when it's flat, the problem is to get the spikes, I think you actually just need a certain volume. I don't think 2.5 mils is enough, because in order, with my magnet at least, it's like I have these little tiny, this one's pretty big, but I have like these little tiny ones that are probably like smaller than the diameter of my pinky. So you can't get a proper spike from that. Like there's just not enough volume even for that. And then the bigger one, it spreads it out, and now there's even like less volume. So, oh shit, but I was gonna say the King of Random made a decent one, and there's nothing wrong with it, but it's more of like a paste, and it's not true ferrofluid. So it's like I've done a lot of research in the past. Like last week, I was reading a lot about the different ferrofluids, and Yeah, it's not like a true one. So if you want to make a true ferrofluid, which is kind of like this one is, I guess, a true one, it doesn't separate almost ever. And if I keep a magnet to it, I mean, if you leave it a magnet, like the super strong magnet on it for like weeks, it won't separate. But because it's all about getting your particles dissolved, and you have to have nanoparticles dissolved. So if you mix just like magnetite, like he did, into motor oil, you're kind of suspending it, but you're not true. Like most of those particles aren't nanoparticles. So it's kind of it's all part like. Unfortunately, there's not that much info on it, but there's this one random dude on YouTube, which I'm gonna mention in my video. He made some really impressive ones. I'll actually get it now. I'll look it up and send it to you guys. Also, should probably go in like 10 minutes, otherwise I'll be here forever. But I'll be back tomorrow probably, so. So I'll show you this video. I think I can post videos to this. I think I can post links. Yeah. I have the power to post links. Yeah, so a series on Chem of getting life essential compounds and materials from scratch in a deserted island post-apocalyptic world or survival setting would be cool. I do agree. It's just I have to come up with the ideas, obviously, but I do think there's definitely an interest in that. I really like that. I really like the idea of getting stuff from scratch. So what's yeah, so I will think of stuff to do that. That's definitely a cool idea. I mean, that was kind of the idea behind my I mean, most of the videos, whether the intent was there or not, like very clearly, most of my videos I do try to make it so that the I do use chemicals and other stuff that's relatively easy to get. So like when I made my ferrofluid, I used ferrous sulfate from the garden store, the ferric chloride that I made, and the ammonia I used was just ammonia cleaner from the store. But it would have been a lot more efficient, obviously, to just buy purified versions of each and then to use concentrated ammonia. Or at least like almost concentrated. So what's a practical use of ferrofluid? To be honest, I haven't delved that far into it. I know for speakers it can be used to help with like signal conduction, I guess. I don't know too much. There are several things that it can be used for though. So how to make everything is honestly a channel that's blown my mind. I don't understand how he has like all that time to get all that footage together. It's like I have to just get my footage in my office and bring it home. He somehow has like footage from all around the world and he still posts videos more often than me. So kind of, to be fair, he has a staff, but still, like I'm always impressed by what he does. So you're saying how well do the people at the pool supply store know me? They don't. I don't think anyone really recognizes me in any of those stores. The only people who recognize me are like the post office because I would drop off a lot of packages. But now I don't deal with that. My mom is like the package deliverer, so they know her now. Oh yes, we make our red mercury, yes, through fission. Or no, it's fusion. You mean, right? We somehow we fuse our ferrofluid into red mercury. That's it. One thing I was gonna say actually was that one hesitation that I would have for appearing in my videos is the fact that now the only people who recognize me in public are maybe people like you who, you know, who've seen me on live stream. So you have an idea, you can actually recognize me. Whereas, or the other people who really like the Edible Chem videos. But other than that, I don't really get recognized, and the anonymity is kind of nice, especially if I'm like buying weird stuff, like you said at the pool supply store. So it is, yeah. So it's like that's one thing I debated with. But I think at the end of the day, you know, if I'm gonna make the content, Uh, yeah, all those nerds and Patreon supporters. No, actually, like I've gotten in my entire YouTube career, I've gotten recognized twice in public, and I'm okay with that because I don't really, it kind of creeps me out the idea knowing that I could just be eating lunch somewhere and then somebody sees me and watches me eating. That happened actually. Um, I mean, it's not their fault. I don't think that they're creepy people for doing it. Because if I recognize someone I saw on YouTube, I'd definitely do it. But it's like once I went to lunch, and when I came back on Twitter, some guy tweeted me and was like, "Oh, I swear that I just saw you," and he named the restaurant, and I was like, "Yeah, that was me." And I was like, "Oh my god, like, where was this guy in the restaurant?" And I was like, "Oh, I would, oh yeah, I would hate to have it if, the channel got so popular that I'd have little spies everywhere seeing what I do." But I think that's just kind of inevitable in what's going to happen. Just kind of part of it. And none of you guys are ever like bad in public. Like you guys are all, everyone I've ever met, I'm saying you guys, I don't know if I haven't met any of you guys, but everyone I've ever met has been super, super, super nice. So nothing really to be afraid of. So how much of the idea of the lab is IKEA? Most of it. Like, I mean, all the cabinets are IKEA. And the table. Yeah, like what's funny about IKEA is the main cabinets all the same. It's just the front coverings that that cost money, or might cost more to make it look nice. But I chose this specific one because it had a nice finish. I thought it looked lab-like, and I'm pretty happy with how it turned out. The counters are not chemical resistant. They're just some random. I was tempted to get granite countertops, and I was like, that's just insane. I instead opted for like these cheaper ones, and I figure if they get really busted up, I'll just change them. They're like $70 for like 8 or 9 feet or something. But for the most part, I've started putting like Bristol boards down, so I don't really get damage on them. I try to do most of my work over Bristol boards, so I don't damage them. In general. So yeah, so you're asking if most of my viewers are like home chemists or if people just like watching it. I don't know. I think it's a mix, but I think the majority of people just like having a dose of chem because it's like I watch Nerd Rage, I watch Explosions, and I watch other guys like that, but I never plan to recreate what they're doing. I just find it interesting seeing their projects. Like I told you, earlier I was talking about how like explosions scare me, so and explosives scare me, so I wouldn't really like working with it. But I like how the channel Explosions and Fire explains it all, and I like how it's presented, so I like watching it. So I don't know. I imagine people are like that too. But I also think that I'm trying to tap into an audience that does just like watching it because the people who are already into chem and trying it themselves, that's great, but they're already into chem. I think what I really want to do is show other people why science is interesting and why they should be interested in it. And those are going to be mostly the people who aren't already in it. So my video walking through the lab was great. It could function as a template and starting point for others to build their own lab. Yeah, it could. I think that what I learned was that there's no right and wrong when it comes to building your own lab, and it's all about what you think is good and fits, honestly. As long as you take all the proper safety measures. The biggest concern I had was always storing the chemicals in the right cabinets. Don't put the acids above the bases, but, basic stuff like that. Sorry, I have to respond to another message. Yeah, so I'll keep going, but I have a hard cutoff that I have to leave at absolutely cannot stay more than 20 minutes. 20 minutes is like the max, but and which I'll probably end up doing, but whatever. So the next time a restaurant goes out of business, buy their stainless countertops. I was going to do that, but it's like stainless gets stained by chemicals. Like my fume hood has gotten stained, so that's reality. So that's one thing. Chemistry and science is messy. If you go in it trying to keep everything clean, you're gonna have a bad time. Like my countertops got one end got stained within like a week of having the lab, so I've given up. Yeah, so Adam, like you're one of those people who likes watching the chemistry but never plan to carry it out. Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea. Like I watch lots of science videos. I don't plan on ever repeating them. I just think it's cool. And I think part of seeing someone else do it takes away that requirement for me to do it. And before I forget, one other thing that I thought would be cool to mention is, I don't know what you guys think of this. One other format for a video that I thought would be really cool would be getting into contact with people who, what's it called? Who work in very specialized areas of chem. So they use chemicals that basically no footage exists on the internet. And I mean things like their footage exists, maybe, but usually it's low quality. So things like liquid hydrogen, liquid helium, methyl mercury, chlorine trifluoride. I think it could be cool to like interview these people, and I mean obviously they wouldn't give me the chemical to use, but to see them using it so people can have an idea of what this chemical is like, because there's no footage there on the internet. I thought that could be pretty cool. So have I seen Cody's video on making nitroglycerin? I did. I watched the whole thing, and yeah, unfortunately it's been taken down. So John, you were in a biolab and they had their cabinets labeled for different types of chemicals. Yes, that are safe and can be placed together, and those that can't. Yeah, that's kind of how it is. Like I've separated all my dries from the wet chemicals. All the wet chemicals, I like to keep them in little containers just in case they spill. You separate your bases and acids. You have to separate your oxidizers and reducers. There's a lot of stuff that you have to do, but it's actually pretty tough. Like you almost always end up putting things together or close to each other that shouldn't be there, but yeah. So Lee Damon, you haven't done chem in a while, and but you still find it cool to get refreshers. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I was gonna give an example. It's not great, but I read that book called Ignition, which is all about liquid fueled rockets. When I first read it, I had no intention of repeating anything. I mean, 99% of it I don't plan to, but I still thought it was really fascinating to read about how it all worked. But I am gonna recreate some of it. And I have. If you go on my Instagram, I fired some 100% nitric acid and aniline mixture, which was pretty cool. So L. Johnson, you got acid everywhere once and your clothes dissolved. Oh, nice. And one of the desktops. Yeah, so it's just like, wait, you got acid or is it solvent? I guess maybe solvent and acid. Well, I guess it depends what your countertop's made out of. I've luckily never had a major accident. In the lab, though, I spilled 150C oil on me, but it somehow didn't do anything. It all splashed all over me, but I don't really know how it didn't. It hit my legs and then went on the ground, but somehow I didn't even feel it. Like it didn't even burn me at all. Yeah, so like Dagfin, you're saying there's a big difference between like the practical side of chem and the theoretical, and I agree. And it's very easy to get sucked into the theoretical side, and it's very easy to get sucked into the pure practical side. And I think that I like to try to maintain some sort of balance between the two, but they are very different. And I honestly don't really like the too theoretical side too much, because I find that it's a little bit too non-applied. Yeah, so Chris, the proper storage of supplies and stuff is extremely important, and I'm also paranoid because I don't have like an accredited lab. I don't even like calling it a lab. I like calling it a workshop, for legal reasons, maybe. But that's kind of what it is. So I was very, very careful because I don't want to be inspected or anything and to fail that stuff. And also, I don't have it like in my university lab where all the cabinets are the air circulated. They're all like super, everything around it's fireproof. So it's like I have to be a little bit more careful about how I do all my stuff. So it's the biggest accident I've had. It depends on what you mean by accident. Like life-threatening in terms of like uncontrollable. It's probably the time it's when I made my lithium carbonate video. I opened like too many batteries and I'm like, I don't need this lithium anymore. And I threw it in to a cup of water. I don't know why. I just thought it would be fine. And it blew up and then it landed all over my workspace. This is my garage. And then it shattered my glass that I had on the tabletop and it burnt a hole in it. And it, yeah. I can't imagine what would happen if I got it on me. That would just have been like horrible. The other accidents are more things like, yeah, Ryan, like it's pretty serious. So I'm pretty paranoid about it now. Like it burnt a hole in my glass countertop. So I was like, if that got on me or maybe in a solvent, it would have just been like, all hell breaking loose. Yeah. I mean, is it bad that my biggest regret out of all of it was I turned my camera off? That was the worst part. The other thing too is just chlorine. Chlorine, people do not understand how horrible it is because it's so easy to make and it's so easy to like any of those gases. When you do a gas generation, you have to be very careful. And I think that most people like me who do their home chem, chlorine's probably the most common gas besides CO2 that you're going to generate and pump through a reaction. And you should just be really careful. Because if you screw up and you fill a room with chlorine, it's not pleasant. And I know that from multiple experiences. So wait, oh, I had a question that I wanted to ask you guys about something, and now I totally forgot. Oh no. It was about content that I was wondering if you guys would like to see it or not. Huh. I don't know anymore. Maybe I'll read back at some of the other questions. Oh, actually, so it was based on Chris's question where he said, do you see yourself sticking to pure chem or could I expand into other topics? Like what's your opinion on that, guys? That's what I've always wondered. I like that I do chem because I find chem is a super wide-ranging and vast topic or field. So it's very easy for me to branch out into, a diverse amount of things. Like the last thing I did was cyanotyping. So I could do like, that old style of photography and blueprinting. And then another time I might talk about medicine and drugs, or I might, like I said before, do rocket stuff. So there's a huge array of different topics that I can do, but I was wondering, like, there are probably some science topics that aren't necessarily chem, and I've always wondered how much people were stuck on pure applied chemistry. Like, are people mostly here to see like cool applied science? I'm not saying I'm gonna build like a catapult and just do like woodworking and physics, but I mean, maybe going a bit out of necessarily pure chem might be interesting to do sometimes. So yeah, so I actually I gotta go in 10 minutes, but I'll answer as many questions as I can. So you're saying like I'll address the ones that I want to address most quickly, and then I'll get to the ones that I can. So, you're saying that my unique style of delivery is something that you haven't seen in other creators. The subject matter is just wide and just out of reach for most of you, so it's intriguing. What do you mean by that? Like, what do you mean by like my style of delivery? Because I've been talking about changing things up, so I would like to know exactly what you like about it, so I make sure that I don't take that away. Okay, so Ryan, you'd watch almost anything. I find that a lot of people are like that, and I find that I personally, and like okay, so yeah, so it's like the thoroughness of the presentation. Okay. Because I guess it's like, oh, I hate sensationalizing things. It's kind of like, yeah, I thought that a lot of people were very stuck on like the active chem stuff, but I guess it is more the topics that I cover and the depth, because I'm not covering it necessarily for you guys. I'm covering it because they're all questions that I had. So I don't think anything that I do, I don't think I would ever get rid of that part, because that part is important to me. I'll just say this quick. So Adam says, what were there any videos that were particularly nervous for? I didn't read that right. That I was particularly nervous for? Probably the one that I was most nervous for was the distilling mercury and making acrolein, because both those are pretty terrible. There's probably a couple others that I was nervous about too. Maybe the bromine one, when I made bromine for the first time. Yeah, so on the main channel, it would seem weird if it was not connected to chem. I do agree with that. Yeah. So maybe if I should make another channel. That's true. But like I said, chem is so wide ranging, so it's like I can almost cover anything, to be honest. That is true. But I think I'll have to make a judgment call on which channel it belongs to. So I'm just reading some questions. Yeah, so that's my thing. Like, so Agent Frostbite, unfortunately, it seems like, I don't know if you were lurking and you just commented now, but if you just got here, I'm sorry, I'm leaving soon. But yeah, so it's like, you think that as long as there's some chemistry that's based on, I can go a bit further as well. Yeah, that's true. I think that for the main channel, I always, yeah, I probably have to do like a certain amount of chem. And Chris, yeah, I appreciate that you enjoy listening to them, because that's one problem when I edit. It adds a lot of anxiety because people have commented like that before. They're like, oh, your voice is soothing. So I like obsess about making it so it's like not, if my voice sounds like a little too harsh that day, I'll re-record some of the audio. Okay, yeah. So Adam, I appreciate that you say that, because that's what I kind of feel like I like doing. I like explaining things and yeah, but the thing is that a lot of these topics that are complicated, it's because I spent literally like days trying to understand them myself, and then I'm like, how would I explain this to myself so I would understand it? Because I get things, but I have like a particular way of understanding things, and I find that it didn't always mesh with how I learned in school. Sorry, 1 second. Yeah. So Chris, like, wait. Yeah, so it is nice to see me. I think it's nice for me to appear in videos, but again, I want to, even when I appear in intros, it's kind of like I'm still doing my regular video. I'm just there. That's why I kind of want to have it where I appear. And the thing that I'm envisioning now, if I have like a camera person like my brother, in my videos how I normally do it, let's say I'm making something up, I go and like, and to the beaker, I added, 50 grams of sodium hydroxide. I would be filming it with the camera that I normally do, but I could also be saying that as I do it and being filmed as I poured it in, and I might be able to cut back between each footage, but yeah, between the footage, but I would still be present and I wouldn't be scripted in that sense. Like I'd be speaking my mind and it'll be a lot more casual. So yeah, John, you're saying you appreciate the fact that that the videos I'm doing are based on interest and not because of just chem. Wait, I know it. Yeah. Okay. I don't know if I'm just misreading that, but I think I get what you mean. Yeah, so it's like I always find that I have an interest in it, and that's what I've always. It's weird for me to say this, but I've never had a particular. Like, I never went to chem and went, like, chem is my thing. It kind of was just all the stuff that I happened to be interested in happened to require chem. Like, one of my first projects was I wanted to distill and purify alcohol. Then the next one was I want to separate capsaicin from hot peppers. It just required chem. So how do you pronounce Buchner funnel? I guess I just said it, Buchner. That's what I think. Or people say Buckner, but I always thought it was Buchner. Yeah. So it's very much like the difference between my videos in the narration and my videos when you see me doing the edible chem. And I think that it's much more personable, and it just feels more, like I said, like more present and more personal with the actual presentation. And you'd see my reactions. Like if I do something and it bubbles over, you might hear me go like, "Oh," like, you know, reacting in the background. Hopefully there's no profanities. Yeah, so the discovery aspect of the videos is something that I really like. So that's how the next one is. And that's why I think I'm going to make like a lot of them, because I found it more fun to see how I got to where I got and not just boom, end result. And yeah, John, like it's true. You can tell when the people don't care about what they're doing. So it's 8:45 my time now. Unfortunately, I have to go because I was supposed to only be here for an hour, but it's been 2 hours and 18 minutes. Um, so I am going to head off now. I'm gonna stop the stream. Thank you guys for joining me. Thanks for your questions. I really appreciate all your input. I will be back tomorrow. Hope probably for around 2 hours again, maybe 2 hours, and I'll just try to answer more questions. This one though, I promised that I would invite people from Twitter. I know some of you guys were hating on the Twitter, but I do need to invite people from the public to have their opinion and other stuff. So we'll see how that is. It might be that I have so many people it's harder to answer questions, but we'll see. So yeah, bye. Thank you for tuning in, and for those of you who will be back, I will see you tomorrow.